Hey, looks like we're live. Let's see. Hi. Just going to make sure I'm going to give everybody a minute to pop on, and I am going to look and see. Yes, I'm live. Yay. Okay. Welcome to September. So excited to be with you and do the Soulcast and energy report and see how this month is going to flow and go and all the things. I don't know about you, but August for me, last week, especially with the Pisces full moon, was one of the more challenging times for me. It was definitely lots of lessons and things coming to completion, and really that beautiful choice point that we have when we are faced with obstacles and hurdles or challenges, to go back to what feels comfortable and what we know, or to stay the path and continue to follow our North Star and trust what's happening. Because a lot of times when things feel difficult, it's easy to want to say, why is this happening? What's going on? And go into old stories. So the past isn't always that we're just trying to go back to it and think about it. It's that we are literally come from a place somatically within ourselves where we recreate it again because we just want to go towards what feels safe and normal. We don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to make decisions sometimes that will propel us forward into the unknown. So when you find yourself faced with, do I, at that path, do I go this way or do I go that way? Do I go the known or the unknown path? Choose the unknown path, because that is what's going to get you towards your future. The known, which your whole brain, right? Your whole brain is designed, to keep you like in that survival mode. Your brain wants to keep you safe. So it even if something that you've already lived through was difficult, it will still go back to that because it already knows it survived it, right? So it's like, oh, I'll just choose that. I got that. But that's not what is going to create a new reality. So last month, there was this feeling of like we're being pulled towards something new. And this month, it'll be interesting to see where September is going to take us. But I'm already feeling some shifts, a little bit of more lightness than last month. So let me pull the first card for September and tell you what's coming up for overall for the month. Let's see. The recognition and reward card. So this card is, let's see how it wants to play out for us over the month of September. The first thing I hear is you're not doing this alone. You may feel, if you've been going through a difficult time, that you are alone and that maybe things like you don't have the support that you need. But there's two things they're showing me. One is let people in, let people understand where you might need support, where you might need help, where you might have a thing that you can share in a sense that would give people an opportunity to walk with you versus you feeling isolated and like you're going through something by yourself, or like you have to do it all alone. There's so many people that have that story of like, I've got to do this all on my own and there's nobody here to help me. And no. So ask for support, whether you're going through a challenging time or not. Don't be afraid to let people in and to collaborate and to have a deeper understanding with the people that see you, that can reflect back to you truth, that can love you and be there for you. So that's the first thing I'm seeing. Also, the other thing is if you have a spiritual belief system, that a lot of times there's this, I was telling somebody this the other day, there is this, I don't know if I saw it on a painting one time or some meme, I don't know. but whether you believe in Jesus or not, it was something that I saw years ago. And it was kind of like, oh, you weren't there for me. You weren't supporting me. And it's like, he's walking on the beach or he's walking in the sand somewhere or something like that. And he's like, no, I was there the whole time. I was actually carrying you. I was actually carrying you through that harder part. So religious or no religion, like whatever your support system is, your higher power, your God, source, whatever it is, to realize during these more challenging times that you can rely on that assistance. You can have that support from source and feel met and seen and loved and all these things. And it's not just a one-way street where whenever like you're falling apart, you're like, oh my gosh, I need this help. Yes, you can do that. But make sure there's a sense of like, I always love to practice gratitude. Like, thank you, God, for being here and supporting me. And also for the parts of my life that, that are going so well. Thank you. Like it's not, I find that whenever somebody's going through a difficult time, it's not like everything, it might seem like everything's falling apart or like you're being initiated into like a completely new reality. And you may be, but there's still pillars of your life that you can be supportive of, your health, maybe your relationships, your children, the roof over your head, whatever. Find the ways that you can be grateful, that you can say thank you for that support. So this card also to me means being more in the spotlight, being more visible, being more seen in your gifts, showing up more in your gifts, receiving the reward for doing the work. So I think a lot of people, and myself included at times, think that when they're going through the work, what is the work, you guys? What do you consider the work? Well, I'll tell you what I consider the work. I want to do a post about this, but spirituality is not so much about meditating and drinking the green juice and doing the yoga and having the crystal and the mala beads and the mantras. That stuff is all beautiful. Those are great little tools. What spirituality is, when I say doing the work, is when you are not afraid to forgive the person that hurt you, when you're not living in resentment of the past, when you are kind to a stranger on the street, when you are able to speak truth into somebody lovingly, when you know it might cause a ripple. That is doing the work. It's allowing yourself to be liberated from the very patterns and the very things that have held you hostage and prisoner, and living in integrity and with a truthful, open, and boundaried heart. That is true spirituality. So if you've been on the path and you've been doing the work, you're going to find some reward this month. You're going to feel elevated in some way. You might understand something. You might start to see the glimmer of like, oh, this is why I went through all of these things. And I'm starting to see information dropping. This is a really positive card. You get recognized for the thing that you've been trying to show up as, maybe that identity that you've been really creating and wanting to step into for your future self. Like you finally feel like clicking in and locking in. You kind of feel like, okay, this piece that I've been feeling so uncertain about becomes more certain, like something shows you. And it also, for some, can mean, this guy's on a pedestal or a platform of some kind. So maybe you're raised up. Like I see this more from a frequency perspective. Maybe you're raised up in such a way that you get to see things from a higher perspective and it all makes sense. And there's a good feeling about it. And maybe there's like some recognition of like from others to you. Like maybe there's something that you can publicly kind of show to the world of like, oh yeah, this inner work I've been doing actually shows up externally. Like it's all making sense. It's a really good feeling. It's like, oh, I can like pat myself on the back a little bit. Like I'm doing a good job. I want you to celebrate your wins. I want you to feel good. And I want you to celebrate whatever wins happen for you this month. Okay. So that's the first card. So that's for the month. And then we're in this week starting yesterday, which we had Labor Day here in the United States. But let me tell you, And we also, just so you know, this week we have a Mercury Cazimi on Wednesday, the 6th. Yeah, our Jupiter retrograde started yesterday on the 4th. It was also my little beautiful daughter's birthday yesterday. So it was a special day yesterday. But let's see where we're tracking for this week. Balance. This is I love this card so much. And I'll tell you why, because we're in that Virgo energy, right? And Virgo is this energy of how can I take better care of myself? What are the systems, the structures, the foundations for better health, for better flow through my day? Like, how can I rework my life a little bit? And we've been in all these retrogrades. We just came out of the Venus retrograde. What did you learn about yourself when it comes to self-worth, love? Money? What did you learn? What are you still learning? And how can you integrate that? And sometimes the best way to integrate is to find the balance. And to me, this is a balance of your inner and external worlds. We put so much emphasis on the external, on what's happening. And I find that when you base your self-worth off of something outside of you, you're constantly chasing something. Like, there's never a full sense of fulfillment or peace, because how could you have that if you think that your self-worth is based on something out there? So this week, there's this sense of like, ooh, how can I find my center again? If you've gotten a little off balance, how can I restore my energy? How can I charge up my batteries? How can I do the deeper internal work on myself so that I feel really good with where I'm tracking? Because everything begins within you. What I mean by that is your internal reality. If you're in fear, then the universe is going to just kind of bring you more things to make, give you evidence of what your predominant frequency is. If you're spun out and you're just disconnected from your heart and you're just living in your head, this is an invitation this week to go into your heart. There's this balance between, the mind and the heart. If you're just constantly in story and analyzing and thinking, but you're not in your heart and your body, then you're not going to see the higher, bigger picture for yourself. And what I mean by that, I work with this incredible somatic practitioner in Bali. And she always says to me, whenever, we'll talk and I'm so good at like finding the missing puzzle piece. And she'll say to me, she's like, Dawn, you don't always have to know the exact reason everything is happening. Sometimes it's just about allowing. And she always says that and this is for you guys, I'm sharing it, when you're in a loop in your head, like a storyline, and you can't get out of it. Have you ever had that happen where you're in fear and you're like, but what if this happens or this or whatever? First of all, don't future cast in a negative way, right? If you're going to be futuring, do it in a way that's really positive and aligned towards what you want to see. But she was saying that when you're in survival, when you go to an autonomic nervous system response, you literally are cut off. It's like your head and your body are not working together. You're not in alignment. You're not in your body. So the first thing you have to do is get in your body. Do some movement, go on a walk, go do something that's going to get you back into your physicality. And then from there, start to feel your feelings. Don't make decisions. Don't lead your life from a place of fight or flight and survival mode. That's not going to support your highest evolution and growth, because you're going to make decisions from that part of you that just wants to keep you safe. You want to make decisions from that part of you that's like your higher self and is really aligned with where you're going, with the truth of who you are, which is why it's so incredibly important to know yourself right now. There are things that are coming up. I've heard whispers of things that are happening that may be happening in the collective. And if you don't know your truth and you do not have that internal discernment, you may fall into fear mode and patterns that will not be supportive of your greatest, evolution and growth and expansion and abundance. So if you can do anything for yourself, spend time on your internal world, get to know and feel like a sense of safety within yourself so that you can balance out whatever is happening in your reality, in your life. And when you can do that, you'll find that things work more smoothly. Stop resisting anything. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't even know how to do this, I'm going to encourage you to check out my stories or go to my profile. I have my Rich Soul program that is on special through this Friday, which is the 8th, that I normally teach for $9,000 and I'm doing it for $555. So if you're listening and going, I really need to understand how to discern that information and have that rock solid foundation for myself, please check out my program, because it's going to really support you in having that internal external balance, because the reality that you want is not going to be from just going out and trying to find it out there. It's from going in here first, locating within yourself the pattern of the program that's been keeping you stuck, and then finding the way to reprogram it. We are basically our subconscious programs until we're not. And so this is about finding that inner and outer balance. The last thing I want to say about this is the number 11. I love that number so much. It's one of my master numbers that I often work with. And I feel it is about manifesting and staying clear and taking a pause when you are mindful and you see like an 1111 or a 111 or something like that. And are my words matching what I want to create? Is my frequency where it needs to be to create the external reality that I really desire? So this is such a deep invitation to go within and do the work inside of yourself versus just going out there and reacting to everything that's happening. Okay. So that's the first week. So now we're going to move to the week of the 11th. Let's see what we got. And so the week of the 11th, we do have a new moon in Virgo on the 14th, and Mercury goes out of retrograde on the 15th. I don't know if that retrograde's been affecting you at all, but that's what's happening. So the week of the 11th, let's see what we got. Okay. So for the week of the 11th, we have the emotional loss card. So this card is a 5 card. It's what I mean by that, it's the number 5. And so this is interesting to me because whenever I see this card, it's a let go, let God, like let's surrender. And I was just having a conversation with one of my mentors today about surrender and how you only do it when you have nothing else to turn to. Like you don't normally surrender if you think you have the answers. You don't normally surrender or let go when you're trying to have like such a deep level of control within your reality, right? Surrendering is an act of letting go, letting God, letting your higher power, letting grace move through your life. And it requires a deep sense of trust. It's a great spiritual concept that people talk about all the time. But until you have actually practiced it, it's just going to sound like this thing that you do, I better surrender. I better make room for this, So imagine if you lived your life from the sense of like you are controlling everything and that you have such a hand in the way everything is going to turn out, that there's no higher power or grace or anything. And hopefully you don't live in a world like this. But I just want to say, if you are trying to control everything, there is no room for miracles and grace. Sometimes we have to step back from the problem, step back from the things that are happening and allow. And I would say do that more often than not. And sometimes when you're letting go, it can feel uncomfortable. So this card, he seems kind of sad. He's holding his heart. But what I'm receiving for this is that he's holding his heart because he's in a deep state of trust and he has faith and he can't see the path fully of what's all going to materialize in front of him. But he knows that he has to make space and let go. He has to let go of the past. He has to let go of the beliefs and the stories that are holding him prisoner in the present moment. because he knows he wants to go to he wants to get to the other side. So if you've been doing the internal work that is required from the week before of balance, right? And if you've done that, then this is like okay, what do I still need to let go of? What is still holding me back? What are this programs that are still in this reality of mine? Because when you go into a Virgo new moon, it's a time to think about how you can be more of service. And it's really hard to be of service to others if you're not taking care of yourself. How do you help other people when you don't even know how to help yourself? If you're doing it from a people pleasing, or you're doing it from an archetypal energy of I'm going to be the martyr, I'm going to do all these things, that is from the wound. That is not from the high heart. The high heart, you have to nourish yourself so you can nourish others. If you're starving, but all you're doing is making food for everybody else and feeding them and not feeding yourself, you would eventually die, and you would be taking care of everyone else, but not yourself. And you could only manage and keep that up for so long. So part of the energy of this week is, how are you taking care of you so that you can, from an altruistic place, take care of others? How are you allowing yourself to let go and not feel like you have to be in control? Because the miracle is present in the field. That's what I feel like. The miracle that wants to come through for you it's right there. It's like right on the edge. It's like right there. All you have to do is be like, okay, I'm letting go. I'm surrendering. I want this miracle. I want to be able to receive the grace. I want to be a channel for divinity to move through my life right now. I don't want to feel like I have to move all the chess pieces and that I always know every single thing that's the best. Like, I want you to hear yourself say, like, maybe it's best to move past my logical linear mind into the infinite field of possibilities and potentialities that exist in the quantum field with source. Really allowing yourself to let go of that control, to let go. And of course, I'm not saying that you're not going to be proactive in how you have your perspectives of your reality, how you're, the way that you react to certain situations. I just don't want you in reactivity in the sense of fear and losing yourself into something because you don't know your way out of it, or you don't know what's happening, or you're scared because you're moving into new territory in your life and you don't have all the answers. And that's what I feel the most for most of you, is like you're moving into new territory and you don't have all the answers. So don't go back to what you used to do and try and recreate the same. Allow yourself to sit in the mystery, in that womb of creation, until something new is birthed, because it's coming. It's right on the tail end. That's what I really feel. And if you feel a sense of loss, like, oh my gosh, and I'm going to be really vulnerable and honest with you guys, I have been letting go of a lot. I have been going through an extremely challenging situation in my personal life that has made me feel almost as if I don't even know this version of myself right now. And there is a part of me that feels a great sense of loss, because I'm like, oh my God, the things that I always used to do that I would rely on to get through a situation or to feel safe are no longer valid and reasonable for me to do anymore, because I don't want to keep recreating the past. So there is a sense of loss and grieving what was, so I can welcome what is. So if you are feeling that at all, like, oh God, I'm in between, I don't know what's going on, I feel kind of like, just be with yourself. Be with it all. Don't try and bypass what you're feeling. Don't try and talk yourself out of this one and say, oh yeah, everything's so great. I'm just gonna go back to my coping mechanisms, and I'm gonna go numb out, or I'm gonna go distract myself. My invitation to you is walk into the pain and be with the pain, or be with the challenge, be with the difficulty. Can you be so brave to know that if you're able to face your demons and face the parts of yourself that have fear or don't know what to do in your own uncertainty, can you face all that? Can you be with that? Because if you can be with that, I'm telling you, you will be unshakable. You will have a resiliency like no, like most people do not possess. You will be seen and catapulted in your reality in a way that people will look to you to get support. This is one of the reasons why I'm so good at what I do, is because I've walked through so many different initiations. I've become kind of adept at like, okay, I got to let this go. I got to move forward. I got to trust the timing of the energy, these cycles of life, and know when it's time to move past something and to be done with something so that I can enter into this fertile time. And a lot of people don't like to do that because it doesn't make them feel safe. They're fighting it. They're fighting their pain. They're fighting the unknown. This week, do not fight it. Let the change like flow through your life. Trust the change. Trust that it's in your favor, that it's happening for your greatest evolution and expansion and abundance. And abundance, the divine doesn't want to, the relationship with your divinity source, however you want to say it, is not there to punish you or be like, I'm asking you to leave this behind because I'm going to make your life even more difficult or worse. No, it's asking you to do that very thing because there's something beautiful awaiting you on the other side. Okay. So that is the energy for the week of the 11th. Okay. Moving on and moving forward. So we're going to move into the week of the 18th. And let me see. That week, we have the September equinox on the 22nd, and Libra season begins. Libra season, yay, Libra season. Okay, so now this is, let's see. For the week of the 18th, we have the Hope card. Yay! Okay, so I love this card. Because if you're, came out of last week's, which was emotional loss and letting go so that you can welcome in miracles, then this is where you feel the healing, you feel the energy that's happening and moving through your life and supporting you to move towards your North Star. This card feels, it's funny, I get the word opulent. There's some opulence, there's some like, I hit the spiritual lottery, or I feel the blessings of the universe. I can feel my heart want to expand when I'm feeling into this energy. It feels light and it feels joyful and it feels like, oh my gosh, I can understand why I've needed to create space so this new thing can be birthed through me. I understand, I see it. And this card, you can see there's like this gorgeous light. It's like this, it's holding consciousness, your prosperity consciousness in your hands. So we always have a choice whether to embrace prosperity or scarcity, or you could call it lack consciousness. Prosperity consciousness is the understanding that everything exists within us, that we don't need to search for our worthiness or our value, that we are born with that. And then we go through this process of amnesia and individuation with our families and our, it's everything in society and culture. And we forget who we are at that core essence. And this week is a reminder of who you are on the deepest levels, that you are worthy and valuable of the life that you truly desire. And that when you follow the essence of your soul and your heart, that you can see the dots start to connect and you can see the signs, you can see things coming together for yourself. So I want this to be a very beautiful opportunity for you to choose into prosperity consciousness, not the part where the lack, where you're second guessing or putting your power into the things outside of you. So when this Libra season begins, which is Libra is the balancer, right? It's kind of the equalizer. It's, the diplomat in a way. That's what I think of Libra. But when we start to come into this energy later in the week, how could you balance out more of your world and do that from a space of I keep getting this thing about expression right now. How can you, and it's so funny. This is just coming through and I don't even know what this means. How can you be more diplomatic? How can you be more expressed in your communication? How can you follow more of your North Star and trust your gifts and trust your divine purpose, trust where you're being led, trust that you're on for whatever is currently happening to you. There's a final piece of the puzzle clicking in that allows you to see the big picture. And that is very healing for you. And it feels like you're so close to grace and this feeling of understanding how things have been working out for you, feeling a sense of relief and joy about that. So I love this energy of following and trusting your path. So one thing I want to say about this is oftentimes when we're in a manifesting cycle, when you're manifesting the job or whatever the thing is, right? There are times where there's a dip and then it comes back up, or it feels like something's not working out to your advantage. And I've been talking about this a lot because I feel like manifesting is often, people just think it's like, okay, I get what I want. And, I just say the affirmations, it comes and I get it. Well, I want you to think about, if you're going to be manifesting what you really want, I want you to think about, what is it from your heart? What is the thing that's going to help you heal? What is the thing that your soul is asking for you? Not what your ego is asking. This really wants you to step into a new path and have hope for what's possible and realize the miracle in your life. And there's a very clear message coming through from the throat chakra of speak into life what is most important to your heart, not your ego, not what your old version of you would have done. I'm talking about the new future aligned new identity that you're stepping into. Okay. And really speak that out to the world. Have the hope and take it even a step further, claim what it is that you want in your reality. Cause you're so many of you are bringing it in and it's right there and it's coming into completion and it's happening and you're just witnessing all of it. And it may continue as the month goes on, but I just want you to be in that vibration of, okay, no matter where I'm at in my manifesting cycle, as long as it's from my heart, it's going to come at some point. It's going to happen and I don't have to control every step of the way. I get to be a witness to it. I get to trust, I get to have faith that as long as I'm moving in that direction towards that North Star, I'm good. So that is for that week. Okay. And so then we come into the 25th. Let's see. And then we have a full moon in Aries on the 29th. Oh yeah. So, okay, let me see. '25th. One of my favorite cards. Love begins. New journey, new cycle, new energy. Let's go. Aries is the individual and it's going to highlight for you at that moment, like how far have I come in my journey? How much have I individuated? How did I go for what I really wanted? Am I the warrior? Am I able to do this from a loving, open heart? Because there's a warrior that like just wants to destroy, and there's a warrior that's moving for a mission and a purpose towards their dreams. And we're coming off of last week where we had the star card, the hope card in this deck. And it's really this beautiful, like understanding of why everything went down the way it needed to, and feeling that, okay, I'm on path. Everything's working itself out. I'm good. I'm in a good place. And then it's like, okay, so you're feeling that. And then you get to step into the new cycle of love. Like, oh gosh, like, okay, I have this new understanding of what's been happening. And I get to choose to move forward on this new path of self-love and self-mastery, really, because if you've been surrendering, if you've been letting go, you understand that self-mastery is, like I said, it's knowing yourself, but it's also understanding the art of surrender and knowing when to let go, knowing when to have the support that you need in this journey, understanding that when that all comes together, you get to create this new cycle because you're more embodied, you're more integrated, you're more wise. So this feels like for a lot of you that new path that you have been trying to choose between the unknown and known, hopefully you let it go, in this month of September. Hopefully you've said, I'm not going to keep walking the known path because I already know where that's going to take me. I want to take the unknown path. And this time when you're taking the unknown path, it's like, I feel really good about this. This feels aligned. This feels where I need to go. This is a yes for me, because you're starting to see the glimmers of everything kind of coming together. Or maybe you have a really big sign, like maybe something is delivered to you this week where you're like, oh, yes, I am on the right path. Everything's working out for me. And I trust that. And I see that, because sometimes we have these weeks that are more challenging, and other times we have weeks like this where it's like your heart is open and you can see the miracle and you can realize the miracle and you can be like, yes, this is working out in my advantage. And I love myself and I love my life and I'm going to choose into this. So this feels really good. Really, really, really good. There was something that I wanted to say. When you're choosing to, I was talking about prosperity consciousness before and how that impacts you when you choose to see yourself through the lens of love and through the lens of worthiness and value. Maybe that's part of this September's, to finish off this month, to really see it when, because we started off with recognition and reward, that card, like the recognition and the reward of loving thyself, of like following your own inner path, even though when you didn't know that it was the right path that even though you didn't know exactly, is this the right way? This feels like, yes, it was like all those things I did to get to this point. I now know, I understand I made the right decision. I understand that this was leading me to a new journey that I had to go through some loss, and I had to trust and have faith and be almost like blindfolded so that I could get to this reward in my life. So I could understand my divinity on a deeper level. So I could understand the inner workings of who I am, because sometimes we just don't take the time to do that until we are pushed up against the wall, until we are kind of like, I don't know myself right now. I don't know this new part of me. What do I do? And it's like, you have to see it through to let that new thing be birthed. And this is the new journey that you get to. You can see there's just it's a one card. So it's a new beginning. And you can also see the water, the rainbow, so there's this sense of like, I've mastered some of these emotions. My cup was full and I emptied it out so that I could start this new thing. Like I get to start fresh. I get to understand. I get to have this new way of being with myself. I get to be this new identity that is able to call in the outside world, the abundance and the very things that I've been asking for. There's something very tangible about this week where you have something in your hands showing you the abundance that you have worked so diligently for, that you have been creating. And when I say something in your hand, for some reason, I'm seeing a piece of paper, but it might not be a piece of paper for you. It could be something, a relationship comes in, something very tangible, a really beautiful conversation with a friend, a new friend coming into your life. But this sense of like, oh, this is the reward. This is the reward is this new journey that I get to step onto. So September gives you a lot of time to review the past. It gives you a lot of time to let go and to have a deeper understanding of who you are at this current identity and how you've been tracking. And anything, because we have so many retrogrades, anything that is not in alignment with your highest good, you get a chance to kind of go over that territory again and make new decisions and choices aligned with your future identity. Okay. And don't fight it. Don't push it away. Just be with it. My mentor said to me this morning, she said, if you're pushed in a corner, if you feel kind of pushed up against a wall, like tighten a corner where like things might be really challenging for you, instead of trying to get away from it, sit down, get to know that corner, get to be with the energy, meet a new part of yourself. Because we are going through this massive collective review so that we can step into the new consciousness and the new energy that this planet is asking for. There's so much happening And I want you especially to be more resilient and more strong than you ever have been, so that whatever comes and unfolds in the collective, you're able to critically use your intuition and your critical thinking to ask yourself, how do I want to participate in all this? Interesting times ahead. Beautiful month ahead. I am curious to see how it all unfolds. Last but not least, if you're listening to this at the beginning of September, I have a program called Rich Soul. It's going to start at the mid to late September, and it is a beautiful journey of inner knowing to create the reality that you really want. You got to have a strong foundation in order to like build up, your reality. If you're going to build up a house, you need to have a strong foundation. Same with your inner house, for whatever you want to see happen in the external reality. So 8 pre-recorded modules and frequency activations covering so much, and live Q&A calls with me twice a month for basically the end of the year, and going a little bit maybe even to January. So I'm so excited. I taught this program before, Rich Soul, at $9K. I'm doing it for $555 because I'm ready to serve. It's my 10-year business anniversary, and it's an honor for me to get to walk alongside my clients and support them in becoming who they're really meant to be, and really creating the life that they get to thrive, not just survive. So anyways, reach out to me if you're interested, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Okay, take care.